Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Jim and Frank's Thursday Throwdown!
Jim,
Frank,
Thursday Throwdown. If we were
say
doing this
Throwdown.
show in seasons, this would be a season finale, right?
Um, the band we have tonight, yes.
Oof, my oh my. Well, why don't you lay down those albums and what band?
Led Zeppelin, and we've got Led Zeppelin 4 up against Physical Graffiti.
Ah, man.
The album that I think is kind of held up as their masterpiece. And I say that because when other bands talk about making their masterpiece, they all say this was going to be our Physical Graffiti.
Right.
Right.
You hear two things: our Sergeant Peppers or our Physical Graffiti.
Or our Physical Graffiti, right? Our Sergeant Pepper's, those are two.
What's so amazing about Physical Graffiti, and we'll start with that one, came out in 1975. It's a double album.
Yeah.
And it's as versatile as it gets when it comes to music. It's almost
Yeah,
like
it's little all over the place.
you think of, and I'm not saying it as they are like the Beatles or anything like that. It's like their White Album. That album was all over the place,
Yeah, true.
and it's a fantastic record. But
Yeah.
this, my goodness, I don't know what it sold. 16-time platinum, something like that.
Yeah, 16 million copies.
Wow. And that's just in the United States.
That's just the US.
Okay. And of course, 1975, Led Zeppelin. If you were a teenager or even a preteen or even a young adult in their 20s, you were into Led Zeppelin or you knew somebody that was.
Oh yeah.
Man, they were on fire, right?
They were the biggest thing,
Yes. Yeah.
right? The argument was they were able to be so big because the Beatles had broken up.
Okay. I can see that. They were a next
They
step.
made room for the next thing, right?
Right. One single on a double album. How does that happen? And
Uh,
yet there's so many great songs.
they're not a singles band,
You
weirdly. And lots of times when they do release singles, I often don't think they're the best song on the
Yeah.
record, weirdly.
Makes you wonder how they pick them.
Yeah.
Uh, well, when you've got your producer is your guitar player and main songwriter, I guess that has a lot to do with it. Yeah,
You need
just
somebody with an objective eye.
yeah, yeah. I think I just sent you the video the other day of John Paul Jones saying the reason they were so successful is because they weren't friends. They
Right. It was just business.
It was business. They played together. They toured together. If they weren't making a record, they weren't on the road. They weren't communicating.
Yeah. I don't know if that was 100% true for Page and Plant.
No, they seem to have some kind of a bond. Yeah.
They kind of hung out.
Right. Well, I'll tell you what, Trampled Underfoot was the single, and it is not the most memorable song on the record. Let me just see if we're on the same place, in the same page. When you think of that album and what should have been the single, what song would you pick?
Well, the one I think is kind of the biggest is Kashmir.
Kashmir. Yes. My favorite all-time Led Zeppelin song.
Oh,
Eh,
I think that's true for a lot of people.
yeah. And I didn't even think of it as, oh, it's got an Indian feel to it and all that kind of stuff, that Mid-Eastern sound that they were going for. Uh, I just love everything about that tune. It is just a well-crafted song.
Great song.
Yeah. But man,
House is the Holy is on that, which is
right. Yeah.
I love that tune.
How good is a song that you're going to go ahead and name a record after it, right?
Right. And not even the same, not even the same album. It's not even House of the
no.
Holy album, which is
Right.
odd.
In the Light, Custard Pie.
Custard Pie,
Oh,
The Rover.
the Rover. Now, I had heard that they had songs that were left over, and I think they've come out on subsequent re-releases or whatever that later
Probably.
came out and became songs that were on Presents.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. So they were rock. That's a hard rocking record. That really is a bizarre album itself.
Yeah.
But
Very keyboard heavy.
yeah, like I said, The Rover, House of the Holy, Trampled Underfoot, just fantastic tunes. And it doesn't feel like a double album to me.
Is there any song on that record that did not get played on the radio?
Everything. Boogie with Stu, it all got played on the radio. And there's
Night
one,
Flight, another
yeah,
fave.
yeah. And there's that one where they're recording and you could hear the airplane going over, and he says, "No, keep rolling, keep it going,"
Yeah.
and they just keep on like that. That's rock and roll to me. That is,
I love that kind of stuff.
yeah, fantastic. But how do you not talk about Led Zeppelin 4? So
Uh, 24 million records sold
wow,
just in the
geez.
US.
Yeah.
Their biggest selling album.
Yeah. Stairway to Heaven. Okay.
Based on your favorite song, Stairway to Heaven.
Stairway to Heaven. Black Dog, rock and roll. My goodness.
Yeah, Stairway, Misty Mountain Hop,
There you go. Yep.
Going to California, When the Levee Breaks. That's Gail's favorite song, When the Levee Breaks.
When the lip, okay. Oh, that's John Bonham smacking them drums, man. But Going to California, what a fantastic hippy dippy song, right?
Oh yeah.
Oh, it's just fantastic.
In the late 80s, I was or even early 90s. Early 90s, I was managing a record store, and there was a guy I did business with. We bought all our imports from, and he was from England, but he was based here, I think, somewhere in Pasadena. But he said, when I was a kid, I heard that song Going to California, and I just decided, man, California sounds great.
That's where I need to go.
So we moved to the States. That was it. I'm moving to California.
Hey,
based on that tune.
That's an
powerful.
Influential song. Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Man, I tell you what, I don't know what we're going to do here because Physical Graffiti is a double LP, right?
Yes.
And like I said, every tune on, I don't think there's any filler on there, but I don't think there's any filler on Zeppelin 4 either.
Mm-hmm.
But if you were stuck on an island and you only had one record, I think I know where you're going to go, but not sure. Let's see.
I'm going Zeppelin 4.
I'm surprised. See,
for me, it's a tighter package. Rock and Roll is one of the very first songs I learned how to play on the bass.
Yeah,
so it's got a sentimental.
There you go.
Thing to it, and so
okay.
I think I would go with that.
I gotcha. I'm taking Physical Graffiti only because number one, I'm greedy, and it's got 2 records. It's got Kashmir.
Yeah, I think that's reason.
Yeah.
more Zepp for the punch for the buck there.
Yeah, that's the only reason I can't say one bad thing about Zeppelin 4. I love everything about it. Again, both produced by Jimmy Page. So they have the very familiar sound to it. And that Zeppelin sound is going to forever be ingrained in our brains. So, in a lot of people for that matter.
If I were going to a desert island, I would take all my Zeppelin records with me.
Well, I figure that if Gilligan's Island, if those castaways could take just chests full of clothing, and Mr. Howell had all his money and all this, I could probably get a turntable and a whole bunch of records with me.
Heck yeah.
Yeah. What about you? If you're watching or listening, Zeppelin 4 or Physical Graffiti? Which one's tipping in your favor? Let us know.
This one's really no wrong answer. You
can't
go with either one of these. Both fantastic.
Oh yeah. All right. Well, it's a split decision this go round.
Oh, interestingly, last time around we talked about Def Leppard.
Right. The name.
I remember somebody saying they chose that name because it subliminally reminds you of Led Zeppelin.
Exactly. I remember reading that. I think that was Joe Elliott that said that.
Yeah.
Could be. All right. Well, until next time, like I say, let us know.
Yeah. See you next week.
All right.